All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday afternoon, October 13th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Nice profit from Leda on the ANY stock. She just got 12 cents. I think that's her second 12-cent trade in a row. Great to see Leda, great to see Norman, great to see Gary, great to see Tiffany, one of our new trial members joining us here today. Great to see Tina and Lionel and all of us here otherwise live inside the cyber group room. If you're joining us back on Facebook Live or YouTube, welcome on back. So let's hop into it. As always, we got a lot to talk about here today. At least we had a decent morning. Things started to pick up a bit here heading into the early afternoon. ANY, obviously, we're talking about to begin up 16+% and perhaps counting. Stocks making a nice trend and a new high of the day as we speak. So, easily enough, we're going to just put this on the main list. How can we not, right? So just put this on the main watch list to begin. Write it down, the ANY stock. Norman says that it was a decent morning indeed. Yeah, I'd say so. It took a while personally myself to get the ball rolling, but it paid off. We'll talk about a couple of stocks here in just a moment, but man, ANY obviously, leading the way for us right now. So this stock ended up making a really nice bounce. A couple of price levels, 715. There was a massive iceberg order in pre-market that was there. It got pulled. And I told us to watch out for that 715. Ended up making for the nice slingshot level. Now, alongside that, Norman also pointed out from earlier today, 720 was a really strong price level to watch heading into the end of the day. Ran up there, false breakout. Well, it goes to show how strong the level was. It dropped all the way back down shortly after. So, hey, 715, 720. The combination of that made for an excellent slingshot bounce type level. It's up nearly $1 right now. So yeah, for right now, we're going to put this on our main watch list. Just follow the trend off the lows. More than just that. But aside from that, it looks like the high dating back to Monday this week, that was from $8.32. We'll take a look otherwise, see if there's any other historical levels. If you folks recall, and I ended up mentioning this back from Monday, the stock ended up breaking above a pretty big level to begin with. That was right off of 770, I think I had pointed out. You can go right back on the morning or on Monday's afternoon meeting. It's probably on our YouTube channel. We were talking about this. 868, 870-ish. And, unfortunately, it came back down the next day. But, man, once it broke back over that 870 here pretty recently, it started to accelerate a lot more. Wouldn't shock me if 770 becomes support later on today. And if not today, then perhaps tomorrow or later on this week. So, yeah, for right now, ANY definitely, on our list already. All right. We'll talk about a couple of other trades here. The JSPR, obviously otherwise, made the next biggest move. Ended up making a huge pop as soon as the market opened up. Got halted, reopened up very quickly, and from there was really no looking back. So it's pretty hard to try and follow this stock because it provided very little opportunity for us to get in. Ended up making a little shake down to 11 here. That was really like one of the only opportunities because once it broke out higher, it just kept going. Ended up building up off the lows, you could say, pretty nicely. But for such a thinly traded stock, it's not one that's easy to jump in on, to be really transparent. So Fausto killed it on this trade. I know a bunch of us killed it on this trade. Actually, we'll give a quick shout out in particular to one of our longtime students here joining us in the cyber group room, Chuck C. Man, Chuck, you killed it today on this trade, man. He had about like 300 shares, I think, and normally he'll trade 1,000 shares. So he said he was in on a third of a position. So we assume 300 shares around there. Folks, the guy picked up nearly $8 a share total and he picked up nearly $2,400 profit on this JSPR stock. And that was all before 10:30. He ended up getting out underneath 17, ended up pushing a bit above it, but came right back down. I think it broke higher later on, but man, right now, this stock just seems really flat for the afternoon, made such a nice pop and run from earlier. It's hard to expect continuation on a stock like this unless if it's already near the highs, like ANY, that's already on our list. If this was, showing more momentum on the way up right now, I would be interested in it. I'd see what's doing with it. But this just looks too flat for my liking. Maybe by the end of this meeting, if it ends up making a giant pop, then we'll reconsider. But we'll pass on this here so far for the afternoon. All right, we'll keep going down the gainers list, I reckon, for right now. I mean, WTRH, it's not looking good here as well. But, one from earlier, it was on our morning watch list. It was on the pre-market watch list. It's a cheap stock. You could trade a lot of shares of this if you know what you're doing, at least. So this ended up paying us pretty nicely. Ended up making a nice move shortly after the market opened up above a key resistance level that we called out beginning in pre-market. There was like a 50,000 share print on the tape from pre-market this morning, the biggest print across the time in sales, at least leading into the market open. 119. So at first, it was shaking around there, didn't hold perfectly as a level, initially. It broke over it, and that's what led to the run up to the next major top. It actually didn't even kiss it. It held under 138, $1.38. That was the next major iceberg level from Bookmap, from level 3 otherwise. And it's to say, well, it made the nice run up. I was hopeful for this to be a bounce area. I jumped in on a lot of shares, 3,000 shares. Unfortunately, obviously, didn't push up much higher. I ended up closing out at 129 here, 128, and then the rest I got out break even right at 119. I was hoping for the last 1,000 shares I had for like a nice pop bounce later on. Doesn't look that way, folks. If it's not going to break higher, there's only one other way the stock's going to go. All right, water break number 1, but let's just jump down here. The ORPH, a stock that ended up making this huge pop for us going into the early afternoon. I mean, really out of nowhere, pretty similar to the JSPR, but it goes to say, right? Like, we're day trading these stocks, folks. We're not trying to hold on throughout the course of the day. I don't even know if there's any news that came out on ORPH. This stock has been like a pop and drop type of stock for a long while now. It's just made these big moves off of news, then dumped back down 50, 60% after. And it's not a good stock to swing trade. News out on it. Let's see. Bunch of words I can't pronounce. And trust me, I'm going to copy and paste, and you'll probably agree with me. Yeah, that's the news on ORPH from today, except for the little at sign and pound sign there. I don't know what that's about, but they're treating some sort of disorder, you can imagine. So, hey, sounds like a nice headline, but ended up making a very short-lived move up, ended up coming right back down. It broke back under 5. It held 5 as resistance right here. This thing's just going to keep dropping. It seems like, folks, maybe, just maybe it could find a bounce from where it got halted from at 459, but I'm not going to hold my breath for that. So, listen, maybe tomorrow, maybe today. I'd love to be wrong on that, but I'm not expecting that move today. If it ends up happening tomorrow, different story. I'll be there tomorrow for it, perhaps. All right. We had a couple of other moves as we'll go through them across the gainers and losers list. We'll kind of review them as we go. This one here, we didn't really follow as much up until now. SOTK ended up making kind of like a low volume, albeit steady push up from like 580 up to 650-ish and above. I don't know. I mean, seems kind of active for the afternoon, trading 1.5 plus million shares. It's up big. Again, though, it's got a thin order book and big spread, or at least it will fluctuate. So I don't know. I'll come back to this if I need to. CRXT, a stock from earlier today, dumping off now, very similar, but hey, made a really nice run from early. So let's talk about this trade at least to begin. Ended up building up pretty nicely underneath resistance. It broke above the pre-market top, but failed to break higher at first from 480. It seems like. I mean, it's just to say once it finally popped that 480 level, there's no looking back. So, really it made it like a near $2 move from that price from 480 up to 667. Ended up making the lower high, failed to really break higher. If it's not going to break higher, there's only one other way it's going to go. Might sound redundant, folks, but I know a lot of us are joining CTU as a swing trader or as an investor for many years, if not, as I'd said from Traders Talk yesterday, even decades. So that's where I say, hey, if it's not going to break higher, what's the point on holding on to a stock for 60 cents, 80 cents down on 1,000 shares? It's a lot of money lost, a lot more money than you really need to lose. So RLX, I was pretty excited to see this continue for the afternoon. Just looks really flat right now, though. So you could see from before, shortly after 12 p.m. Eastern time, ended up starting to make that new high of the day, the push up to 550. But again, just fell completely flat. I mean, not much happening on the stock right now. All right, so I'll tell you what, folks, I'm going to jump around right now. I'm going to just move to the loser side for one moment. It's actually not even showing on the loser side, but I always am transparent with you folks, and I'll always tell you if I'm in a position. I was going to tell you about this, but now it's starting to make the push up. It was in a little indecisive of a state as I started the meeting, but we've been on this OCGN trade from Monday, from yesterday, this morning. It was shortable. So full transparency, I'm in this trade right now from 860. We had called that out earlier as a support level. I was short on this stock from the late morning, early afternoon from 9. It was like crawling on the way down there. So I got out of a short trade on this stock just earlier here. It dropped off a lot more. So I had this from the corner of my eye before we started the meeting, and I see it snake back up pretty fast. I'm thinking, well, that's pretty odd. It just shook down. I left some money on the table on my short position. It's not going to break any lower, folks. Right? So, it's all dependent upon taking the trade from a very strong level. 850 is a strong level, but also 860 was too. I'm long on this trade from 860 or 861, and we'll see if this trade can make the push back up to 9. I wouldn't be surprised if I put this on the main watch list by the end of this meeting here. It's, very tradable. We'll come back to it at the end, just give one last look on it, but just wanted to let you folks know. I would have went to this anyway. If it broke down, I would have gone to it as we, went to the loser side. I would have told you I'd take like a 3-cent loss or 2-cent loss on it. I got my stop set, so the fact it popped up, I wanted to just let you folks know in advance in case if this like flies up to 9 as we continue here. All right, so we'll keep it going. See if we run back into the OCGN trade in a moment. Plug, very choppy right now. I think there was some news on Plug from early this morning in pre-market in regards to like Oppenheimer or some major firm. I think, Morgan Stanley. Pardon me there. Morgan Stanley. They ended up providing a $40 price target on Plug this morning. That's not too far out of reach. So, that's kind of a normal price target perhaps for this trade, but hey, made a nice little pop after the open. It got choppy shortly after, but made higher lows, pushed up to make a higher high. Right now it's holding under 33.50 in the high of the day here, but nice trade from earlier today. Maybe keep an eye on it come tomorrow morning. Good side list stock perhaps. This an F sell. I tell you what, aside from the PALT trade, which doesn't look that great here, I wanted to just at least check this stock out as it's been a familiar runner for us over the last 2 to 3 weeks. There isn't really a whole lot on the gainer side that's really catching my eye. Market ended up making a nice bounce shortly after the open, right around 10 o'clock, 10:30 it did. Broke a new high just before here. I don't know if this is based off of any sort of minutes meeting that ended up concluding. I know that there weren't any major Fed meetings today, so that could have been the smaller, tinier Fed minutes meeting. I'm uncertain, but that's why you probably have that wacky spike up and down on the SPY ticker here. For right now, we'll hop over to the loser side, seeing if there's anything looking just as good, if not better. OCGN's at 871. Not really much happened since. Ooh, this one looks interesting. GRWG at the low of the day, and I caught that. Watch 2080 here from the corner. Yep, there it is. From the corner of my eye, I saw that guy pop in. You can't hide from me. Got an 11,000 share iceberg order on the bid at 2080, right off the low of the day practically. It is shortable. All right, cool. And Bill confirms it was the minutes meeting that concluded. That's what I figured. Any like wacky movement on the SPY or a major index at 2 o'clock, some big meeting ended, or perhaps a smaller Fed minutes meeting ended. The next major FOMC, I think, is not up until November 2nd and 3rd, if I'm not mistaken there, folks. Not SPRT here, but actually for any of our like long time C2 students, I'm talking 2015. SRPT. I haven't seen these guys in a long time because, well, you could see based on the daily chart, they ended up like exploding over time. But man, I forgot about this stock leader, right? A wall of famer, she says. Not just from the run up over time, but we're talking back from 2017, 2016, this big pop back here, 2015 off a gap up and run. You always forget about these stocks at times. Either way, the stock just too expensive right now. Just pretty funny running into it, at least there, right? All right, so let's see what else we got here, folks. Of course, today being Wednesday, we'll talk about a little Bitcoin, a little crypto here at the end. I want to show you a new chart. It's not to say new. If you've been into crypto, you really should be following this chart. I haven't shown it at all during these reviews, so I find it useful to show it now. Let's see if there's anything else otherwise, though. Not much that I see on the loser side. How about DATS? Anyone see DATS today? DATS? Holy smokes. Talk about a crush job. Oh my goodness. All right. So DATS, really quick. DATS came out with like news this morning, and pretty decent news. I mean, I don't think many of us are familiar with the company Barstool Sports. They're an emerging media company. They're catering more towards younger adults, teens even, but they're more into the sports gambling world and social media. They're all over Twitter and Instagram, yada yada. They ended up announcing a deal with Barstool for like a multi-channel national marketing campaign. Cool. That sounds good. Stock ended up making a nice move after the market opens, ended up approaching all-time highs or getting closer to them, ended up beginning to snap down out of nowhere, ended up just plunging shortly after. I thought it was news in relation to a common stock offering. I don't think there was anything, folks, on this trade. I didn't see any news on the DATS shares trading lower amid a pullback following the stock's recent run. That's all I got there. That took me by surprise. But once a stock drops this much, gets halted on the way down, we say it all the time. It's a wrap. It's game over. So I don't know. That's the only thing that was kind of interesting. If it was shortable, then I'd be all over this trade into the close. How would I not be? But it's hard to borrow. You can't short it. All right, folks, we're going to do it. We're going to put OCGN on the watch list here. Certainly, I'm more hopeful to see a nice run into the close. I'm doing all right on the trade still. So I think that alone gives me enough merit to put this on the afternoon watch list. If it ends up pulling back shortly after we finish up this meeting, well, hey, it is shortable. So perhaps it could continue on the way down. So, we actually talked about that yesterday. Actually, how about this? I'll go to this just to prove my point. RRD, we talked about it, folks, for a stock that's shortable. This one was at the highs, but it was near the highs heading into the close. If it's not going to break higher, I told you, stocks don't do triple axle backflips. The chart goes from left to right, stocks go up and down. If this stock's not going to break higher heading into the close, right here, it's going to go only one other way. So hey, OCGN, I hope I kill it on this trade on the way up. That would be nice, because I did all right earlier on, but like I said, it took a little while to get the ball rolling in terms of my profits. So if this can keep popping, God bless. If it doesn't, and right now the opening bell print price, just so you folks know, this might be the level where it pulls back. We'll see. 875 is the opening bell print on OCGN this morning. 258,000 share print on the tape. You could see it from level 4. So that would be a strong level. We'll see if this can end up breaking over that price. All right, so folks, as always on at least Monday, Wednesday, Friday, going to flap the gums a bit about Bitcoin and crypto, perhaps all together. If there's anything else that ends up making a pop by the end of this meeting, let me know. All right. All right. So crypto, here we are. Here's the hourly chart. At least I didn't move my vertical line from the last time we talked about crypto, dating back to the 11th. So let's just do that to just give you a quick little glimpse from the last time we talked about it, where it went, what it did. So little pullback. This is the hourly chart. So it ended up dipping down pretty cleanly to the 200 EMA on my hourly chart. So I find that to be pretty interesting. Ended up pushing right back up. And from this point, my belief, and if I'm wrong, but I think we're going to be right here. I think we're going to keep on going for a little while. Now, the chart that I wanted to show you, and I'll jump to Cardano in a moment, and perhaps I got from Skip here. I can't go through every crypto, and I say that to anyone else because we're going to go over Shiba Inu for Skip here in the chat board, but after that, we'll finish up. But it's to say I want to go over this. Oh, come on. You're going to give me the – I'm not signed up to what do you call it, Trading View. Give me the kickoff there. They got to make me sign up. Here's what I want to show, though. Let's see if I have enough time to show this in time here. So for all of us inside the trading room, you rarely ever hear me talk about indicators, let alone Fibonacci retracements or extension lines here. But, hey, I start to play around with them on my own on the back end. I don't use them for stock trading as much. Over time, the more I use them, I will be. But with a fib extension line like this, I found this to be pretty cool because with the monthly chart on Bitcoin, it ended up playing out pretty nicely. Let's see if I can load this up pretty quick before it gives me the boot. Now, this chart here, just so you folks know, this is what's called the Bitcoin dominance chart. When Bitcoin begins to make a stronger run compared to the altcoins, then this pops. When the altcoins begin to make a stronger move up or down compared to Bitcoin, then this drops. So you could see dating back to, March of 2017, practically all the way down to January. Well, actually, this chart dropped off. What that actually means is that when everything was moving up, the altcoins were moving at a faster rate. Okay, well, why is this important? Because back when Bitcoin peaked in 2018, well, guess what? This ended up going up. That doesn't mean Bitcoin went up. That just means that the altcoins dropped way faster than Bitcoin did when everything crashed. All right, well, look at this. Back down again, right? This was dating back to January of this year. So this means that the altcoin started to make a stronger move in its direction compared to Bitcoin. Well, this is the October candle. Little pop back up. What does that mean? That means that as Bitcoin's been pushing up and up and up and up, a lot of these altcoins haven't been. My Cardano, my precious and lovely Cardano, what's happening here, right? Don't worry about it, folks. We're all in the clear. Rising tide lifts all boats, I believe. Now, it is to say, going back to this chart, what happened back in November of 2017? Well, this is October, or September, or this is October right here. This is November. What that means is that as we ended up going into the fourth quarter of 2017, the altcoins ended up making a much sharper run up compared to Bitcoin. So for anyone that's in these altcoins, Ethereum, Cardano, Litecoin, for any one of us there, Ripple, Solana, you name it, I still have high conviction. Should we happen to see the Bitcoin dominance fall back down, we're going to see a nice run on altcoins again, folks. And if we're trying to use the fib extension levels as a nice gauge, then you could try and plot it over time. We'll kind of track this intermittently as we continue to go. But I just wanted to kind of express that. You might be wondering, well, why aren't the altcoins going up? That's something to keep a very good eye of, this Bitcoin dominance chart. This is the first time that I've shown this chart to you folks. I've been on this for a little while myself, but I didn't really feel as compelled to discuss it as much up until now. All right. There we go, Christopher. Love that. We're hodling the whole way through. All right, let's get to, I know Skip wanted to just show Shiba Inu. I'm not in this at all. It's like a cheap micro crypto coin. It's like a fraction of a penny. So, it's just to say the last week, 2 weeks, been making a nice push. It's still in this consolidation area, so we might happen to see a retracement over time, Skip. This is the 6-hour graph too, so even if I go to an hourly, it wouldn't shock me if this drops down to perhaps closer to the 500 EMA, maybe in between here. All right, that's all you got from me on Bitcoin today, and otherwise all crypto. We'll talk all about crypto. I just combined the words Bitcoin and Cryptoin. We're going to talk all about crypto coming up on Friday at the end of this week. I think I've done enough talking here for this afternoon with that in mind. All right, folks, we're going to call it for right now. We're going to keep OCGN on the main watch list. I say it that way because, well, it pulled back below my 875. So I'm not out of the woods just yet on my long trade from 860, but still very tradable stock so far. And actually, before we finish up, I don't think anyone typed anything here in the chat board lastly. Let me just jump right to social media here. JSPR, no, making the pop. There we go. Great reminder from one of us on YouTube. RJF getting 40 cents on it right now. He was in from 1577. Timely exit, although it pushed up higher. It's new money now. So nice trade. This is the second win type of move that we're seeing here. I guess this is enough for me to put this on the main, watch list. I always like to say this before we part ways, but it's not the CTU trade list, folks. We're not forced to trade this JSPR. If you're more keen on following ANY, GRWG as a short, OCGN with me perhaps, well, you have every reason to. This stock has a really thin order book, so hey, if you're in this stock right now, let's keep hoping for the push up, but there's plenty of other fish out there, folks, for us to try and catch with just about 60 minutes to go. All right, KPLT from our good friend Mitch Connor at the end, up 5%. Ended up popping earlier, so he probably called it out off the pop. Since, unfortunately, ended up pulling back. I don't know. This could be on our side list. It wouldn't hurt me to put it on the main list, perhaps. Yeah. All right. Let's hope for this to continue to push up. It seems to be off of a prior resistance here, so hopefully sooner than later we'll happen to see this push back up off 515, 517-ish, and get back going up. All right. Folks, I think that's just about going to be it from me here for right now. So for all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. I always try and do this every day, although I don't. If you have any questions, feel more than free to send over a quick email right to me, josh@ctutrading.com. If you're ready to join us live inside our trading room, different story, go right down to the link on the banner below that is at the stream just to get yourself started. For the 125 of us there right now, including Christopher, Brian, Bill, Skip, got Dan, got our Lita here. Perfect. All right, folks, I look forward to catching up with everyone here coming up at 3:30. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.